That's Scotty, I'm Motty, and this is a big debate. Yes, it's a mass debate, yeah, very funny, we've all heard the jokes. Where me and you are going to do what has become, what is it when it's every 3 years? Because is it biannually is...
Two,
or biannually is two. What's three? Is it triannually? Yeah, something like that. Because every 3 years, me and you argue about the manager, don't we?
Well, we argue and then you agree about 3 weeks later.
Yeah, in fact, weirdly, it's not just me who agrees. It's like the club agrees with you about 3 weeks later.
If everyone had listened to me in September, right, we'd have saved a hell of a lot of aggro, and we might still have a chance of being in the Champions League. Now it's true. Who needs Dan Ashworth?
Right, so in case you haven't noticed, we're going to be debating that man, Erik Ten Hag, on whether he's the right man for the job. Now, some people might go, oh, hello, United have been rubbish and you're having a debate about the manager. So reactionary. Let's not pretend it's just the Brentford game that has led us to this point. We have had a pretty woeful season, at least in Premier League and Champions League terms, and even Carabao Cup terms. 11 losses in the Premier League, bottom of the group in the Champions League, knocked out of the Carabao Cup at home to Newcastle. It's not been great by any stretch of the imagination. The only plus point has been the FA Cup. So we're going to have a little chat about why we do or don't think that Erik Ten Hag is the right man for the job. Scotty, you've already nailed your colours to the mast. You're obviously not believing in this manager. You haven't for a little while now.
No.
Why do you think he's not the right guy?
Just no evidence on the football pitch. I mean, I've said the same thing week in, week out, whether it's on Scotty and Motty or on Stretford Paddock. There's no evidence that there's any sort of plan or blueprint as to what we're building towards. And everyone said that the second season might tail off. This has become a catastrophe now. And you can say, yes, we've got a semi-final against Coventry, right? The greatest Man United performance this season, in my opinion, came in extra time against Liverpool. And that was a game of football that was played without strategy and was just with belief and passion that they didn't want to get beat because of the occasion, the players. And I think whatever's happening in training isn't getting through to the players because it just looks tepid. I used that word on Twitter at the weekend, or X, whatever they call it now. And they said tepid is to sort of underselling it, or it's a lot worse than that. There's nothing to them at all. And I just can't see any sort of belief from the players in terms of what the instructions are. Like, we've had great success with the likes of Kobe Mainu this season, probably the player of the season alongside the likes of Garnacho. I think Delo's come a lot this season, but the rest of them have gone missing, man. I mean, Onana had a great game. That's because he had to, because there was like 5 million shots against him against Brentford.
Gets practice, doesn't he?
Yeah, and the fact that going into the Brentford game, I think we were the third highest team in terms of shots against us. And then Ten Hag said, are you worried about that? And no, as long as we're winning games. Well, we're not winning games, are we?
No,
everything you just said there in terms of how bad this season's been. If this was David Moyes, he'd have gone. I think Ten Hag's job's been saved by the whole Ineos and ownership thing dragging on far longer than it needed to do. I think this might have changed had Ineos come in earlier on in the season.
I'm sort of semi-agreeing with you on a lot of points. It's not been good enough. I get your point about tepid. I get your point about the performances and what is going on the training pitch, and week in, week out, even when you do see, a good spell or whatever, it's sort of followed by a game that's just not good enough by any stretch of the imagination. And it's been the story of our season. 11 defeats in the league. Many of those coming at home to the likes of Brighton, Bournemouth, Fulham, Crystal Palace is unacceptable. I'm not going to sit here and say that that's okay and that, that's not the manager's fault whatsoever. He has to take some responsibility. The only thing I will say is, and I'm sort of edging towards your thinking, but I'm not there yet, is I still feel like we're going to take stock at the end of the season. I still feel like there's no point in sacking this manager now. I don't think there is.
No, he won't go.
And I still feel like he's got the opportunity to save his job. One thing I slightly disagree with, you said like Moyes would have been sacked by now. Moyes was sacked the day it became mathematically impossible for him to make top four, to make Champions League football. Ten Hag's still not there yet. And also, he's still got that opportunity to end the season on a relative high of winning the FA Cup, which for me is a big trophy. Now, the flip side is people saying, I've had this argument, Van Gaal won the FA Cup and got sacked. Van Gaal got sacked before the FA Cup final. The decision was already there. And the reason that was made wasn't because of the FA Cup. It was because we'd had that abysmal run in the league where we lost to the likes of Stoke, Bournemouth, and
it was December, wasn't it?
Norwich. And also you had a manager right there waiting that many believed was the right man for the job in the first place in Jose Mourinho. Now, as it stands, you've got some good candidates. You haven't got, for me, an absolute banker standout one where you go, he's got to be the next Manchester United manager, which I think might have gone in Erik ten Hag's favour a little bit because there isn't an obvious choice. There's managers that people may want. You might want Amorim, you might want Tuchel, you might want De Zerbi, but they're not nailed on, that's the guy that's going to be the next Manchester United manager or should be the next Manchester United manager. What I would say is I still feel like Erik ten Hag has got the opportunity to save his job. My confidence in him doing that is waning.
I was going to say, what's it like having the opportunity and having the ability to do it? Is
that's where I'm struggling, because I still back this manager, and I still feel if you put me into a binary position, do I think he should keep his job or not? Yes, I think he should keep his job, but it's getting harder to defend him because I'm seeing a lot of performances and tactics that make no sense, and little things as well. When a United manager gets sacked, it's not just one thing that does for him, right? With Moyes, it was obviously we're not getting into Champions League, but what led him to that point was a series of decisions that undermined him.
Oh, no, I completely agree, yeah.
Like, with Van Gaal, it was a series of results that led him to the point. And I think with Ten Hag, it's going to be a series of, obviously, results, but also the way he sort of handled the press hasn't been great. The fact that there's obviously not a lot of harmony in the dressing room at the minute, which sometimes reflects badly on the manager. When I say at the minute, I mean the Sancho situation. You can do that and you get away with it if you carry on winning football matches, but when you don't, people look at that and go, well, you've got a player there that was 73 million quid that's you're not using because you fell out with him and you've disciplined him and you've carried him off to Dortmund while we're struggling to score goals. Now, I personally have got no time for Jadon Sancho, but it will be a stick that's used to beat Erik ten Hag. The results thing I've already mentioned. Also, you mentioned there some younger players. Now, I love Kobbie Mainoo, and I think that he's had a fantastic start to his United career, but he needs help, and at times you look at that midfield and you think we're over-reliant on an 18-year-old. Yeah. That's concerning. That's worrying. And I don't want to see what happened to Kobbie Mainoo. What has happened to more or less every single youngster post-Fergie who's come into this United side? They've come in, right, and they've started off really well. Whether that's Marcus Rashford, whether that's Scott McTominay, whether that's Mason Greenwood. And for different reasons, they've probably not quite fulfilled or done what we hoped they would.
Yeah.
Now, Kobbie Mainoo for me is genuinely special. He's probably better than the players I've even mentioned. Debatable about Mason Greenwood. I think he was a phenomenon as a youngster. But look at Kobbie Mainoo and you think certainly in terms of his attitude, his maturity, his ability, it's like wow. But you've got to handle him the right way. You've got to make sure the players around him the right players. You've got to make sure that he's not too much pressure on the kid, even though he handles himself well. He can't be expected to be the saviour of Manchester United at 18 years old. No. That's nonsense. And yet it feels like he is. That worries me.
It's a testament to his ability that we can sort of rely so heavily on him as an 18-year-old to do that. Whether that's right is a completely different story, because I agree, and there's the fear that he sort of burn players out in the same way that Rashford was great for a season and fell off. Do you know what I mean?
No, you did. You're right.
And it's just you shouldn't be bringing players in and then putting the burden of the club on top of them. Not especially when you've got seasoned pros around them and stuff. No. And you should be looking to them for leadership. But one thing I wanted to get into, because whenever you mention Ten Hag's doing this on social media or on these channels, is that straight away you go like, well, the players are crap. But I'm like, I agree. Them players are performing crap, right? They are. Across the board.
Okay, that's one thing we can agree on.
Across the board, they are playing absolutely abysmal football, right? And people will say, well, that's not Ten Hag's fault. I was like, well, if Ten Hag's job isn't to get the best out of them players, what is Ten Hag there for?
Two things can be true, though, can't they? Like, you can blame Ten Hag and blame the players as well. Like, for example, I'll explain what I mean. Ten Hag should be able to get a better tune out of some of these players, but also Bruno Fernandes or Aaron Wan-Bissaka at the weekend should be able to play a 5-yard pass. You can't blame the manager for him not being able to do that, and I saw him several times not do that. Marcus Rashford should be able to perform better than he is performing. I'm not just going to say that's on the manager. It's on both of them. So there's an element of the manager and there's also an element of Marcus Rashford, or I'm not trying to dig out one or two individuals, but I'm just going off the Brentford game if we look at that, where there was some players who couldn't pass it from me to that camera away.
Yeah.
And you can't just blame the manager for that. international footballers who've been playing in the Premier League for a number of years, who are the top 0.1% of professional footballers who can't do a 5-yard pass. That is ridiculous.
I agree with you, but if that's 1 or 2 games where they're doing that, then you can say, okay, they've had a couple of stinkers. But when it's across the field, you know what I mean? In these sort of instances, even if it's Manchester United or any other football club, if the collective isn't performing, that's down to the manager. Only one head will go.
Yeah. I'm sort of still just about backing. I'm still back the manager. That's probably not word around.
I want him to succeed.
I know you do.
I want Manchester United to be the best.
You've always
my belief
wanted
is that I don't think he's good enough for the job.
I still think he can turn it around, right? And I think he's gonna have to start on Thursday against Chelsea. Genuinely, excuse me. I still think he's got a chance of salvation in the FA Cup. I still think he's got a chance that if he wins the FA Cup, if we beat a Manchester City in the final, again, it's big ifs, but if he does, that could buy him enough grace to get him another season. I do. I think it'll be different than what happened with Van Gaal, where, like I said, for the reasons I've already mentioned, he will go. My question to you is, do you have any faith he can turn it around? Because obviously you're in a different camp where you're going, you've lost faith in him now. Do you have any faith that he could turn it around?
I just look at the performances and the games coming up, like the likes of Chelsea and Liverpool. Yeah. Liverpool are going to be a completely different beast. They're going to be wounded following the FA Cup game, and especially where they are in the Premier League. So you expect us that, we're going to be fair. And to be right, Liverpool in the second half of that FA Cup game, they should have battered us. Really, the amount of possession they had. I thought that we didn't come out at all. We looked like we were knackered in the second half. So I think that's going to be difficult.
I know you were saying it was like blood and thunder, and there was an element of that, but also it did in that game the one thing I've wanted us to do more of. We went for it
at the beginning. The first 20 minutes of the first half, we
but right at the end, when Aaron Maguire was saying like we just went man for man.
Yeah,
you could see at the end we were just man for man. We had the low.
You mean the last half?
Yeah, like that's what I want to see. I want to see that.
But this is where I think the problem is, and because Ten Hag came with a lot of what do you call it? A lot of
hair.
No, a lot of he's aged badly. I seen your tweet of the weekend.
It's mad. It does it to you, doesn't it? Yeah. It's not good for your health managing Manchester United Football Club.
No, he came with a reputation of being very strategic and a lot of numbers and stuff like that, and being quite intricate in what he wants out of players. Now, if you watch how they play compared to what he's supposed to do, and I'm not digging out a single Manchester United player, but I don't think many of them have the greatest IQ. So if you've got him coming inside saying X, Y, and Z, you need to be doing this. It might all be going gobbledygook, and like Aaron Wan-Bissaka's trying to work out Pythagoras at fullback, and he's like, oh shit, that's why I've misplaced a 5-yard pass. But if you put them into the box put them into the sort of cauldron of chaos, like was the last half an hour at Old Trafford against Liverpool, it's like hell for leather, right? We're all in here now, just go for it. And it's like passion and belief will get you further than ability sometimes.
Let me ask you this then. You don't think he will turn around, I get that, and I understand why you don't. If he does, if Manchester United,
what's turn it around?
I'm going to explain you. If Manchester United, right, if Spurs have the capitulation of all capitulations, right, I'll just pick Spurs.
Not even Spurs will do that.
Yeah, right. If they do though, right, and 5th place gets you Champions League football, and we get into the 5th place spot, and he wins the FA Cup, and I get, yes, before you say it, I know there's lots of ifs and buts, and it's not likely. If he was to do those two things, would you still want to see him as manager next season?
On the basis that I can't see an obvious replacement, but I'm also on the thinking that I don't think you should keep a man in his job because there isn't someone obvious to do that job.
So what would you say if we finish 5th and that's Champions League football, we win the FA Cup, and you've got a choice of keeping Erik ten Hag or you bring in
truthfully
someone else? De Zerbi, let's say you bring in De Zerbi or Tuchel or
Nagelsmann or one.
Yeah, Nagelsmann's one you've mentioned before. Okay, you swap him for Nagelsmann, not swapping. But
no. I think Nagelsmann's contract's up after the international tournament in the summer. I think Ineos, new start, bring players in, and I just think that the lot that we've got now, whether it is down to the not understanding what Ten Hag wants, whether it's a personality thing, I just think brand new, dawning of a new era. I think.
Regardless of what goes on between now and the end of the season, you think it's time for a change?
Yeah, I think so. I think if Van Gaal got jacked off after the FA
Pause.
Cup, yeah, he probably didn't. Danger wank.
That is one. That is a danger wank.
Where's Lua?
Don't ask. Listen, I hear you, and I said this on Paddock. I'm at the stage where I can't really knock anyone who's had enough. Yeah, I've not quite got there. I understand that people have because it's been a hard watch for Manchester United fans this season. But I still have a little bit of faith in Erik ten Hag. Get involved in the chat in the comments. Let us know whether you, like Scotty, you've just thought, listen, we're flogging a dead horse. This guy is done. Or whether, like myself, you're still deluded enough to believe that Manchester United under Erik ten Hag can have a brighter future. That's been Scotty. I've been Motty. This has been the debate about Erik ten Hag. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.